Dearie me, this thing is hot. So that's kind of my car. What I'm intending to do is I'd like to get a nice video of both. Well, I suppose I should do this. Of both my Honda, yeah, my Honda, and this Trans Am. I've had a couple videos of the Honda already, but it'd be nice to try to come up with something maybe a little bit more meaningful. You know, so we'll kind of do that, and you know, that car is for sale. So if you're interested and you're watching this, shoot me an email or shoot me a private message or something, because it is up for sale. So what are the intentions? So this Trans Am, and I'm not going to go back out to it because it's rather hot out there, and I'm done for the day. I don't have any more tools to work with. So this Trans Am, the plan is to kind of make it my car. What would I do to a car? And so my intention is, number one, to remove as much weight as possible. And I'll document that. I'll try to document that and try to, you know, say, well, originally the car was 3,600 pounds, because that's about right, 3,600 pounds. And then, you know, I'm going to pull out I've already pulled out the subwoofer and the, you know, spare tire, and yeah, you know, for total weight savings of X amount. And I'll try to weigh them all, try to get a nice, you know, number so we can say, well, it's 200 pounds or something lighter. So the weight savings includes removing the radio, removing the seats, except for the driver's seat, obviously, and I'll probably leave the passenger seat in there. And those two seats will eventually be replaced by racing seats, because the amount of side bolstering they provide is just not enough. It's just, it doesn't have enough side bolstering. So we'll stick with you know, kind of go with the racing seats. And if you have suggestions on good racing seats, or if you know anywhere in my area that might be, you know, that might sell racing seats, because I'd like to sit in them and see if I'm going to like them. You know, that'd be great. So, you know, racing seats, no rear seats, and that'll actually help restore some of the practicality as well, because as I already showed, the trunk is essentially non-existent. You can't carry your sack of potatoes with you. So there's that, and obviously keeping it as a working car. So, you know, something that, you know, will keep the water out, which is what I'm working on right now, keeping the water out, and trying to, you know, get the electronics out and that sort of stuff. So that's the weight saving stuff. Actually, no, that's not quite true. Actually, the other thing is I would really like to get really lightweight wheels, depending on how much these Corvette ZR1 wheels weigh. They could be very light as it is, so that'd be fine. And if I really could, because it's a big expense, but if I could, I'd go with bigger wheels in the back. The front wheel is 275 is as wide as you can go without rubbing. So, you know, I'll stick with 275 on the front. That's okay. And then, but I'd like to go as big as I could in the back, which I hear that 325 is as big as you can go in the back. Maybe not that big. Maybe 315. I don't know if they even make 315. But that's the intention. So bigger tires, more grip, and yes, more rolling resistance too. You make a trade-off. And then the other thing is, you know, as I said, because there won't be a radio, I'd like to go with a lighter, you know, lighter and maybe more interesting, I suppose, or better feeling, honestly, because I don't really like the way the steering wheel feels. Change the steering wheel. Change the pedals are just a minor thing, but the gas pedal is not what I'm used to. I'm always used to the ones that don't really have any motion at all. You know, so you get the one that I have right now is like this and like that, and it goes in and out. I don't even know if you can see that. It goes kind of like that, kind of goes like that, and then it goes kind of in between. All of those. It has travel in all of those, and like only 2 or 3 of those actual ranges of motion do anything, and that's really odd. So I'll probably change it for something simpler, something just, you know, simple pedals. But the idea is to lose as much weight from the car as possible, and we'll go with some minor performance mods. You might go with the free ram air mod, as they call it, the free ram air mod. You know, and the less restrictive lid and you know, exhaust headers would be great because it's got the Borla already. So, you know, that'll be a good pairing. but because, you know, it is already partially modified, I'm not looking to do huge modifications. It has to be my car to drive. But, you know, the weight savings is definitely something that I'm perfectly fine with. I rarely ever use the radio. More extreme modifications, I was thinking of going with a manual steering rack. And I know everybody's going to call me crazy for it because the tires are huge, 275 tires in the front with a manual steering rack. But honestly, I mean, is it worth it? Well, you know, you have a trade-off, again, right? Because it's going to be more difficult to live with, you know, if you're stuck in kind of a parking lot. You have to remember how big the car is, right? It's 191 inches long, which is really, really big. But it only has a wheelbase the size of my Honda. So actually, technically speaking, it has to turn on the same sort of, you know, the same sort of wheelbase, but it's got a lot more extra length. So it's gonna be like, oh, you know, so, you know, yeah, okay, it's gonna be more difficult to live with. And what are the advantages? Well, the advantages are that it's simpler. You don't have liquid and, you know, all that stuff kind of going back and forth. You don't have to have the belt attached to the serpentine, so you gain just a tad bit of power. But the fact of the matter is, I want the sensation. You know, it's just the power steering as it is obviously kind of dead, right? It's an American car, but you know, I want a little bit of that feeling back. You know, a little bit of that. And the other things I really like to do are suspension modifications. I saw a guy do a write-up on air suspension, and yeah, you know, you get that whole idea of the hydraulics. You know, it's like, oh, you know, that type of thing. No, don't need that. All we need is a suspension that'll be nice and tight when we want it to be, and, you know, maybe lower the car a little bit. But what I want is something that'll be tight, but it will be, you know, it's not like this car or with the Honda where it'll just hit its nose on everything. My Honda's lowered an inch and a half, and it's actually taller than my old car. If you lower that old one an inch and a half, it's the exact same car, but if you lowered that old one an inch and a half, I mean, you would hit everything. You hit you know, you'd hit the speed bumps. You get beat